Well, there we are. So, as you've heard, I'm David Crystal, and Ben, where have you gone? Ben?
Hail, fellow. Well met. Good morrow.
Ben, look, that's not right. We're in the 21st century. That's how we'd start a conversation in Shakespeare's time. Look, go out and come in again.
Okay. Good day to you, sir. How do you do?
A bit better, but you're in the 18th century now. That's how you might greet Dr. Johnson.
Ah,
Go out and come in again.
okay. Uh, hey, how's it going?
That's more like it.
Hey, dude.
Dude?
Dude.
I'm not a dude. Am I a dude?
You're very
No,
much,
I am not a dude.
You're absolutely.
All right. Well, at least we're in the 21st century now.
And welcome to everyone here in the 21st century to our talk today, which we have called
Let's Talk Together. Face to face.
Well, and screen to screen.
And the important word in that title is together.
Not talk.
No,
All right.
together.
Why together?
Well, because it's the togetherness of a conversation that makes it work well.
Ah.
And when it's not there, conversations become very difficult.
Okay, well, let's explore togetherness then. We are together now having this chat.
Yeah.
Face to face and being filmed at the same time,
Yeah.
which makes the situation a bit odd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, what is it that shows we're together?
Well, several things. The fact that it's face to face for a start, we're looking at each other some of the time. If I were to look away while you were talking, it would seem as if I wasn't paying attention.
Right. Could even seem rude.
And then, did you notice what I said when you started to talk just now?
I didn't hear you say anything.
Ah, but I did, and that's the point. You're not supposed to notice it, except, unconsciously.
Okay.
Look, let's redo that bit of the conversation, and I'll point it out as we go along.
Okay. Now, how did it go? Right, yeah. So we're together now having a chat face to face.
And at that point, I said, yeah.
You did, yeah. No, why did you do that?
Well, it's one of the most important ways in which we show togetherness. It's called simultaneous feedback.
Simultaneous feedback. Simultaneous
Feedback.
Okay.
It means the reaction somebody makes.
Oh, right. Like when a shop asks for customer feedback about something.
Well, exactly. I was giving you a reaction to show that I was listening.
Ah.
And you've just done the same thing now. You just said, ah. And I said,
Right.
And I added a yeah to show I was agreeing with you. And I followed it up with a quiet laugh and a nod, which has a positive meaning in British culture, all to reinforce the point you were making.
And you were doing it at the same time as I was talking.
That's why I called it simultaneous feedback. And it's what makes a conversation work in a smooth and comfortable way. Well, at least in English.
So I suppose there are cultures where this doesn't happen so much.
Well, indeed. But English speakers do it all the time. And there are dozens of vocal reactions available. Dozens of them.
Such as?
Well, yeah. Really? Oh, sure. No. Gosh.
Okay, I get the point.
Wow. Phew. Ha-ha. Eh?
Yeah, that's enough. I think everyone's got the point now. But basically what you're saying is that listening is a very active process.
Well, it is. Listeners don't keep silent while somebody's talking to them, and they don't keep their faces immobile. I mean, if they don't give any feedback, they begin to feel uncomfortable. And if it goes on for too long, they won't be able to continue with what they're saying. They pause and say such things like, are you all right? Are you feeling okay? Have I said something that's offended you?
I was just making your point for you.
Oh, that's a relief. I thought for a moment there might be something wrong with the recording we're making.
No, all's well.
Oh.
Yes, it is, definitely.
Now, that illustrates another point. You asked a question with no hope of getting an answer, looking at the screen. Questions are another crucial thing in face-to-face chat, aren't they?
Aren't they? Hey, yeah, tag questions.
Tag questions. Always an important section in an ELT course book, aren't they? Because they change so much.
And I remember the same thing when I was learning French. That wasn't such a problem, n'est-ce pas?
Oh, indeed. Lots of languages don't vary their tag questions. But English does, as all you learners know very well. And then there are all the other ways in which we question each other.
Like?
Well, like. That's a prompt. And a minute ago you said, such as? That's another prompt. It's kind of interruption, really.
Interruptions get a bad press usually, though.
Well, yes, etiquette guides say one should never interrupt. And in fact, interrupting can be a very positive process, very helpful in promoting togetherness.
Like when I chip in and ask you to clarify something.
Well, exactly. Yes.
Right. And what about intonation, the melody of the voice?
Oh, very important, especially when we want to make a statement and want our listener to react at the same time. We use a rising tone of voice, which sends an alert to the listener.
Like, is that what people sometimes call uptalk?
Oh, yeah. Uptalk. It's been a feature of English for hundreds of years, but it's very noticeable these days, especially among younger people who often use it repeatedly when they're talking.
Would you illustrate it? I'm not sure.
Well, I think so, yeah. It might sound a bit odd coming from me, but let me say...
You're young.
Well, of heart, definitely. Let me say that last sentence again in an uptalk way. This is uptalk. I said it's very noticeable these days, especially among younger people.
Ah, okay. It's as if you're checking with me, wanting my support.
That's building rapport, really, I suppose. And for many people, it's become an important feature of face-to-face conversation. Not everybody does it, and some people really dislike it, especially when somebody speaks like that all the time.
Oh, you mean like, what about grammar? Are there any grammatical features? Right, I see, yeah. No, but what about grammar? Are there any grammatical features that people use that promote the togetherness we've been talking about?
Well, I think the main thing is the way we introduce little phrases into our sentences. Phrases that show we're thinking of our listener while we're talking, like, you know?
Or you see?
Yeah, and mind you, and I mean.
And the variations on I mean, such as I mean to say, or know what I mean?
Yes,
Right.
They all reach out to the listener in different ways. Linguists sometimes call them fillers, F-I-L-L-E-R-S, fillers, or comment clauses, and they can convey a wide range of meanings.
Well, why don't we explore one in a bit more detail then?
Okay, which one would you like?
You know. Yeah, you know.
All right. That's one which changes its intonation depending on whether we use it at the beginning of a sentence or in the middle or at the end. I'll give you a sentence and you tell me what it means.
Okay. At the beginning.
Okay. I'll say it two ways. First, without you know, and then with. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. I need a new coat. You know, I need a new coat. What's the difference?
Gosh, well, the first one sounds a bit abrupt, just a bit out of the blue. But when you added the you know at the beginning, it made it sound more friendly.
Yeah, it's sort of asking for a bit of sympathy. So now here's an example of you know in the middle of a sentence.
Okay.
I'll meet you in the shop. You know, the shop on the corner. What's happening there?
Oh, well, that, gets rid of an ambiguity. It's like you've realized that the shop by itself isn't clear enough. So you add some extra words to help. And the intonation is different.
Yeah, it's low down, you know. Different from the one I used before, you know, which was high up. You know, I need a new coat. You know, the shop on the corner. Very different, isn't it?
Okay. And what happens when you put you know at the end of the sentence?
Well, there are two choices now with different intonations. One is high up, like a tag question. You'll need to book a car, you know? You know? Like that. What does that mean?
That sounds like, are you checking to make sure I know what a car is? Do I realize? Is that okay with me?
Yeah, that's right. And then what about this one with a low rising intonation and usually said slowly? How about this?
Go on.
I've just spoken to your cousin. You know.
Oh God, yeah, that sounds like there's trouble brewing, some sort of issue that we both know about.
Indeed.
Right? Yeah, yeah. It sounds as if we can use anywhere in a sentence. Then?
Well, not everywhere. It wouldn't work in the middle of a compound name, for instance. We wouldn't say, "I've just been to York."
No. I suppose a compound word like a washing machine. I've just bought a new washing, machine.
No, that would be very odd.
Now, I suppose all of this is to help a conversation bowl along smoothly and fluently. But these days, we have online conversations too. So does that sort of thing happen here?
Well, let's try it out. Let's have you go on my laptop.
Okay.
Okay, you go off and I'll call you up on my laptop.
All right. Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, this is did you just buy this?
One I made earlier.
Very swish machine. It's Apple's top state of the line. Okay.
Right. Well, this is going to be a very different experience, and it's something I suspect most people have found. They can find chatting online tricky or tiring or uncomfortable. And it's because the interaction is missing all of the features we've just been talking about. So I've put my laptop in a place where I hope you can all see Ben and me together. So, hi, Ben. Hi, Ben.
Sorry, I was on mute. All right. Hello.
Yeah, you see, he was never mute before, was he? Let's continue our chat.
Yeah.
Well, there's the first thing. Did you notice that pause before Ben replied? A time lag between us. It might be because of the technology, or it might be because Ben isn't sure whether I'm expecting him to say something.
Yeah, I thought you were about to say something else.
And I don't know whether you want to say something either, Ben, which leads to the familiar situation of a breakdown with both people talking at the same time.
Yeah, that could be really very...
where... Sorry.
Look, you go up.
Oh.
Yeah.
What
could be...
What were you about to say?
I was gonna... That could be very annoying, especially when there's more than two people in the online chat.
Yes. And the more people there are, the more the speaker finds it less of a conversation and more of a speech or a lecture.
And there's no simultaneous feedback.
Exactly. While I'm speaking to you, you're not going, yeah, or any of the other noises we make when face to face, or if you are, I can't hear them or see them. You're not making the same changes in your facial expression that you would if we were together. You're just staring at a camera. Or maybe not even that, with your eyes looking at your screen, not in the camera. We're not together.
Yeah, each of us is on our own. And without these helpful interactions or reactions, we have to make the best of it. We have to concentrate that little bit more, which is why at the end of an online conversation, many people say they feel so tired.
Yeah, there's an artificiality we have to overcome. And it's especially noticeable when AI is involved and people find themselves talking to a robot or to an AI model trained to talk like someone we know. You can nod and smile as much as you like to a robot. It won't pay any attention to you.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet.
Of course, the technology tries to help, especially when there are several people chatting, like showing a raised hand. But often that can be missed. And it's a problem when there's more than one hand raised at the same time. We have to invite the participants to speak, which is even more artificial.
From the listener point of view, it's difficult to know when or how to interact. It's virtually impossible to insert a quick prompt, for instance, as we were doing when we were talking face to face earlier on.
And what happens to all those filler phrases like,
Well, people are reluctant to use them. I've listened to many online chats from this point of view, and they hardly ever appear.
It's the same with social media, I suppose.
Oh, yeah, you hardly ever see phrases like, or I mean, there. The exchanges are shorter, more succinct.
And that means they come across as more abrupt.
Yeah, and even if someone was bothered to insert a, the lack of intonation would make the force of the phrase difficult to feel.
Now, adding a smiley or an emoticon can help, though.
Well, it can, but they can easily be misinterpreted. A smile can be friendly or humorous or sarcastic, even threatening.
Good evening, Mr. Bond.
And that's the bad guy talking. So how's about coming back for some more offline chat to end this talk?
Yeah, okay. Go on, shut your computer down.
Yeah, all right. Bye.
Go on, take your laptop.
Yeah, thank you. But, yeah, very expensive, this laptop.
Yeah.
There we are. Yes, emotions can be tricky things. Some don't travel across cultures. A thumbs up symbol doesn't always mean good. It can be an insult in some places. And I recall a lively online debate a while back about whether the folded hands emoji means please, or thank you, or I'm sorry, or I hope, or I pray, or applause, and I don't know what. There was no consensus.
Oh, sorry I'm late. It was just awful traffic getting back here.
Oh dear, that's clear, yes. Oh, well, that's another big thing about a physical face-to-face conversation. We use gestures and our body position as well as facial expressions to tell our listener what's going on. You know, hey, Ben, that sort of thing. And we use words like here and there and this and that to show what's happening. They're pointing words and they work well here, face to face, but not on screens.
You look over there, Dad.
Where? Oh, I see. It's an example.
I'm just that good an actor.
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't say that on screen, though.
True.
Look over there, Dad.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense. So in our talk, we've been focusing on the differences between offline and online conversation. But there's a great deal in common as well. I mean, take storytelling, for instance. Conversations are full of people telling stories or recounting what's happened to them. And whether you're telling a story online or off doesn't make much difference. Stories have their own grammar and style wherever they're told.
Wait, what do you mean their own style of grammar?
Well, tell me a story and I'll point out a couple of its features, but make it a short one as we're due to finish in a few minutes and answer some questions from viewers.
All right, okay. Once upon a time. No. Well, this morning I set off early to get here to make this recording, and I'm on the main road. Wouldn't you know, of course, there's a traffic build-up and everything slows right down, and I thought I'd better let you know that I might be late. So I pull into a lay-by and I get out my mobile phone, and of course there's no signal. And so I set off again.
And in fact, you were here in good time.
Yes.
So that's enough, anyway, to illustrate a big point about that kind of informal storytelling. Did you notice the way Ben joined his points together? I'll emphasize the linking words. He said, there's a traffic build-up, and everything slows right down, and I think I better let you know I might be late, and so I pull into a lay-by and get out my mobile phone, but there's no signal, and so I set off again. It's just one enormous sentence with all the bits linked by and or but and so.
Yeah, you wouldn't write it like that, would you?
Well, no, I'm not if you're trying to write a good, stylistically correct essay, you know.
It sounds fine when you're speaking.
Sounds fine when you... And actually, some playwrights are very good at creating realistic conversations like this. You got an example in your head?
Oh, yeah, well, you introduced me to this playwright, Harold Pinter, from the 20th century, one of the titans of English theatre, in a play, one of his first plays, actually, called The Room. A character called Mrs. Sands is telling the others how she and her husband were looking for somewhere to live. We're looking for a place, you see, somewhere quiet. And we knew this district was quiet, and we passed the house a few months ago, and we thought it looked very nice. But we thought we'd call of an evening to catch the landlord, so we came along this evening.
So there we go, you see, and. So Pinter is great at naturalistic conversations. One reviewer at the time said he had a tape recorder for an ear.
But then most conversations in plays aren't like that. We started with a Shakespearean greeting, so why don't we end with Shakespeare too? This is the gentleman giving an account to his friends of the revelations at the end of Shakespeare's, one of his last plays, The Winter's Tale. I make a broken delivery of the business, but the changes I perceived in the king and Camillo were airy notes of admiration. They seemed almost, with staring on one another, to tear the cases of their eyes. There was speech in their dumbness, language in their very gesture. They looked as though they had heard of a world ransomed or one destroyed.
Did you notice? 4 separate sentences. The grammar is much more structured and the sentences succinct. It's hugely effective writing, but a long way from the very loosely linked units of informal everyday speech.
Well, there we are.
Yeah.
We hope that you've enjoyed these few thoughts about how conversation works as a taster for the insights planned for the rest of the festival.
And tomorrow especially, I think they're doing a lot on conversation tomorrow.
Oh, great. Well, we've set you up for tomorrow, hopefully. Now, but remember, there are 3 key points when you're thinking about the differences between face-to-face and online conversations.
Okay. 1, the crucial role of simultaneous feedback when we talk face-to-face.
And its absence when we talk online.
2, the importance of those grammatical features of interaction that make a conversation flow smoothly.
You know?
And 3, the way our gestures, our faces, and our body positions bring us together. And you can't do that online.